All right, August, welcome back. It is on the other side of turning 42 today, right? Or at least it feels that
32.
way
I'm not quite to
since
42 yet.
well, it feels that way because you're hungover. So 42 for the next
Just a little
hour.
bit. No one can tell.
Well, I just told everybody, and now you're drinking this giant cup of coffee.
I gotta stay alive.
I'm August Black, and this is Certified Bad Example, where we take real parenting moments that make you pause and ask, who approved this?
And I'm Jameel Mayers. We're not here to teach, we're here to talk about it. Different opinions, real perspectives, and what we do instead, preferably before somebody ends up grounded crying or in a group chat getting roasted.
Because every situation is a choice.
And some of y'all are choosing chaos.
This is Certified Bad Example. Follow, share, and hold on tight.
What is it, a Trenta?
It's a homemade. Yeah, sure. It's a Trenta. It's a Trenta too
Homemade.
for my
Okay.
32nd.
From your
fine.
barista days. I get it. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
All right, guys, make sure to drop in the comments. Happy birthday for August. His birthday was on June 30th, which is not the day that we're recording this, but certainly the day that we're celebrating his birthday of turning a very youthful 34. Jeez, I remember those
32.
days.
We're so close. I think you
Oh
might
my
be
God, why am I
hungover.
saying 34?
42 and then 34. We're not there yet.
58. Got it. Thank you.
Yes, I am 61 and looking fine.
I'll say 61 is incredible. I don't know what your regimen is.
Lots of sunscreen. Hi guys, August Black here. So happy to be back. I feel like I haven't seen my friend Jameel here in a minute. We had vacations and birthdays and kids' graduations and so much stuff going on. But we're back for
Oh, yeah,
another
Bo
episode.
graduated. Yay!
She did. She graduated. And I have to say that I shed a tear or two.
Oh.
But, it's so cool to watch these kids be proud of themselves. The thing that I got to feel yesterday, which was just kind of like I think like a little hidden blessing on my birthday, was seeing my kid looking for us in the crowd and then finding us, and the joy and pride and just like fulfillment that she like exuded from her tiny face. It was next level. It was
Oh.
it filled my cup the whole day. It was amazing. It really was. It was amazing. And it was also like total testament to the co-parent dynamic that I've worked out with my ex. Like we were there, we got to celebrate with her. At the end, she got to come up and give us a hug. She gave her mom a hug, and then she gave me a hug and asked me to pick her up. And then she pulled her mom in for a big family hug. And it was just one of those things where it's like all the decisions that I'm making and all the things that we've worked through have been worth it. Cause like, look how cool this moment is. It was nice. It was a good moment.
Well, congratulations, my
Yeah.
friend. You've earned it. She deserves it all around. Awesome. Say hi to mom for me. I'm sure she listens to the podcast.
She does. And the funniest thing at the end of the thing, because it's been a collective sound that I've been gauging people at the end of the preschool graduation, the teacher goes, and this is the class of 2039.
Holy cow.
Oh, ow.
Oh, you're going to be 80 by that time.
Yeah, well, yeah, if I go by
The
the
way
age
I'm
I've
counting.
depicted today. I will be
Oh,
45 when my daughter
my
graduates high
God.
school. I'm not mad about it. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right. We'll be good. We'll be good. But yeah, it was a collective sigh and laughter in that classroom. And but yeah, it was cool. It was a great moment. All right. Well, that was my little tea for the last couple of weeks, and I haven't seen you, but we should get right into the stories. Jameel, do you want to start us off?
Absolutely. So again,
Fantastic.
just as a quick introduction, if you're new here, thank you. If you're coming back, thank you again. We encourage you guys to leave comments in the comment section, to be redundant. But first story, okay. In 2020, family influencer Mika Stauffer and James Stauffer announced they had placed their adopted son, Huxley, with another family after documenting nearly every step of his adoption journey for millions of their followers online. Huxley had been adopted from China in 2017 after the couple publicly, well, I cannot speak. after the couple publicly discussed his medical needs, including autism. Over the next 3 years, he became a central figure in their YouTube content, sponsorship, and brand partnerships. When the Stofers revealed they had rehomed him because his needs were greater than expected, public reaction was swift. Critics argued that the issue wasn't that they sought additional support, it was that they had built a profitable online brand around the adoption before effectively removing Huxley from the family and the content. So, August, how does that make you feel on the heels of your birthday?
Oh, I mean, that rubs me the wrong way in so many aspects. So these people, they create an entire social media content strategy around a child that they're adopting from a different country. They're presumably saying, "We're going to love this child. We need your help making this happen." And then they get the child and they decide, "Nah, we're not gonna love this child." How I they it's it sounds so horrible, but the first thing I think of is that they're treating this boy like a dog. Like, "I adopted you, and you're actually too much work for me, so I'm just gonna give you to somebody else." You have apparently, you have the resources to go through an adoption, which is not cheap. You have the wherewithal to run a company online surrounding the adoption of this child. You have the intellect behind it. You have everything in your toolbox to take care of a child you knew was medically complicated before you adopted it. And at the heels of it, you're like, actually, I'm not gonna follow through. I'm having a hard time with that one. I don't even I'm actually at a loss for words. Yeah. I'm actually at a loss for words. I just think I find that so incredibly fucked up.
So I think it's horrible as well. I think these individuals are a case for why adoption is not for everyone or why everyone should not be a parent. So, you know, when you have or when you expand your family through traditional means, you get what you get, right?
Mhm.
Genetics are what they are. You're aiming for the best. But whatever you end up with, that's your kid. You love them to death. You're going to support them through whatever medical challenges they have, as short as they may be, or as lifelong as they may be, right? They're your kid forever. When they
Yeah.
turn 62, they're still your kid, right? When you adopt, and because we've been through foster to adopt here in the state of Arizona, um, you may or may not know, but even when the adoption is final and years later, if for whatever reason you as a adoptive parent decide, hey, this kid is too much, I want to give him back, the state will take him back. There is a loophole to allow your kid to go back to the state, even after you have finalized adoption and they've been with you for years. I think I understand why it's there. They want to make sure that the kid always has an out, right? You don't want this kid. You can't take care of him. We don't want you to just stay in this situation and make things worse. Give him back to us. We'll find a new situation for him. However, the adults in this situation are doing a bad job. You adopted a child internationally, right? You pulled him from the country of origin and perhaps even the culture of origin, brought him somewhere
Language.
else,
Mhm.
right? Language and everything. Knew he had some challenges, made some money off of it, right? Because the whole adoption process, the journey in itself, gave you all of this opportunity. And now that you have the kid and it's pulling you away potentially from social media, you don't have the same story because your story has migrated. You don't know how to translate that into continuous income. So now you said, this is too much. Perhaps let me reset and go back into my adoption story, but I got to get rid of this kid first. That is not a selfless act. It's not a parent act. It is something that needs to be admonished and potentially even punished, in my opinion. But I can't go down that route because, again, the option to rehome is there and the interest of the child is what's important. So if they were not going to treat him right, I'd rather them rehome him as well.
I hate the word "rehome" though is so crazy because for
It is,
me, it's
it's
like
horrible.
it's
Like,
like the connotation is so close to being like, God, like, I found out my daughter's allergic to my cat and I had to rehome him, or like things like that. But as two parents who are two non-biological parents of a child, the idea, like, for me, I don't associate biology with love. I just don't. I don't. I think from a very young age, I never craved to biologically have my own kids, and so it wasn't something that I felt like I needed. It's still something I don't feel like I need. But to look at a child and say, "I am your parent. I'm going to love you." That's that's a promise that you're making to them, and it's a statement like that's what I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna support you through these needs. These parents, I don't even think they should be called that, looked at this child and said, I'm not, I'm gonna use you. I'm gonna use you, and then when it gets a little too complicated, I'm gonna give you away. And I do agree, like if they're not gonna take care of this kid, if they're not gonna love this kid, then they should find someone who will love and care for them, because I do believe that exists. But I mean, the choice to be a parent through adoption is to really love something as is. Just like, you're having a kid and you're like, I'm gonna love, like you said, I'm gonna love you regardless. You are my child. But I feel like people play biology into that. And I just don't think that that's the case. I think a true parent loves regardless.
So how much do you think social media has played a role in this, right? Because this apparently all started with them documenting their excitement to go down this path of adoption. Obviously, the end result is they're no longer going down the path; they are in it at that point. And let me tell you this: wanting to be a parent is different than being a parent,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you
Totally.
want to be a parent, so everything that you have to do as a parent is over here. But when you become a parent, now it's right here front and center. It takes up all of your time, all of your attention, all of your desires and goals. Things change. If you can do social media at the same time, which many people do and very well,
Mm-hmm.
then that's fine. Something you can pair along with that. Apparently, these people could not. So what do you think about the social media pull on this particular situation?
I mean, I think they got swept away in it. I think that that's probably fair to say. And like, I'm not going to give these guys like too much wiggle room, but they probably got swept away in it, into the excitement and like the joys of going down this path, and like the possibilities of the what ifs and what it'll be like. Um, but I mean, I'm gonna assume, since I don't know too much about the story, that they knew he was medically complicated before the adoption went through. Like it was like a known thing. Like it wasn't just like oh,
Yeah, these are. It sounds like there was a disclosure, like this child was already born when the
yeah.
adoption came through. It's not like they did
And he was a little
surrogacy,
bit
right? There
older,
was.
like 2 or 3, and then um, I only know like snippets. I didn't.
So let me add a little bit more. So the family's adoption journey generated millions of YouTube views in sponsored content.
Mhm,
Several advertisers, including major brands, cut ties with the Stoffers after the announcement that the child was rehomed. Adoption advocates stress that disruption can happen, but disruption is what they call it in the adoption world. So when you go from family in like the foster care system, it's called a disruption because it is
mhm,
a mental and physical break from the situation that the child is in, whether they bonded or not. It's a disruption, right? So that's the technical term. Adoption advocates stress that the disruption can happen, but criticize how publicly the child's story has been monetized.
mhm,
Controversy became a landmark discussion about whether the children featured in the influencers' content are protected from exploitation. Now, that's a word that always needs to be considered. If your
mhm,
whole entire channel and brand is based off of your child, there is a level of exploitation that needs to be considered. Um, there are a lot of parents out there that have channels that surround their kids, and they're doing it right. They've got
yeah.
guardrails, they've got limits. They don't show this, they block that. They're so they're doing it right. And then there are others that are like, man, this is making me money. Let's see how far we could take it. And I think that's where
Well, we've
you cross
discussed
the
some of those
line.
families, the families who kind of just like have no boundaries, and they're using their kids, whether they're using them as an example or a prank, or a money grab for different collabs. I mean, I think that there's variations to all of this, right? But then there's also the parents. I follow a couple of family pages that are just obviously I'm looking from the outside, I'm looking for social media, but they seem super wholesome. Their kids seem super loved, and what they create is this beautiful. I follow this one guy, kid's dad, and he's just a wholesome dude who just loves being a dad and loves his kids. And he has them on there, but they never show their face. But it's all about the things that he does for them that he's celebrating. So I think, like the way that these people went about it, it seemed like they realized that they could get famous through this avenue without also taking like a really deep look into the reality of adopting a child with medical needs. Got over their head and then expected them to not have backlash. But also, if you're over your head in that situation, you've made a ton of money off of this avenue, like hire help, like bring in people. Did you
Yeah, it
try?
sounds like they have money to do that.
Yeah, like, did you try? Like, get like, not, like, I'm not saying I know the cost of someone who has that background to help you with your child. I know the cost of a nanny is expensive, but like, where are rehoming? Oh, it just rubs me the wrong way every
Dum
time I
dum
think about it.
dum.
The
This is your
disruption thing is,
dictionary word of today.
oh God, wow,
All right,
yeah.
guys. If you guys are listening and come across this rubs you the wrong way, much like it does August, drop a comment. We'd like to better understand. What do you guys think about leveraging your kids to a degree that becomes exploitative for
Hmm.
social media gain? And then how should that money really be used? Is that your money, or is that 60% your kids' money? Like, what's what's that breakdown? Anyway, think about it. Let me know. All right, August. Let's
All right.
let's swatch and switch into some stories from your side. Make sure they're not rehoming stories.
They're not, but I was like, wow, those people shouldn't be parents. So then I thought about one that I had just read that I was like, maybe this guy shouldn't be a parent. So this is called the
Oh,
diaper refusal dad. Um,
I
and
already
it was
don't
a,
like where it's going.
yeah. Um, so it involves a dad who refuses to change diapers, and so a 23-year-old new father told his wife he would not change their daughter's diaper because it's gross. He initially found the idea of cleaning a baby's genitals intimidating. When challenged, he refused a far more disturbing fear. He was worried people would find him inappropriate for changing his own daughter's diaper. He avoided being in the same room during changes, and he told his wife she should have to handle all changes and the baby all changes because the baby is never far from her. This sparked outrage and comments, and red flagging would shrink the parenting duties. But I find that the "it's not my job, dad" thing kind of it's is like trending a little bit. It's going backwards into like almost how dads used to parent. But this guy literally gets online TikTok and was just like, I should not have to do this. I'm the dad. I should not have to change diapers. I shouldn't have to help with feeding or cleaning or any of this. And I am the opposite kind of dad. And you guys are two dads. I'm sure you share diaper duty.
Okay, so so let me go with two different perspectives. I'm gonna be a devil's advocate here for a second.
Oh, okay.
Let's say that, okay, fine, you don't do diaper duty. You've made it clear to your wife partner, this isn't me. Okay, what exactly is the other person getting as a trade-off? Would be my question, right? Because
Okay.
in different relationships, people make different, bargaining deals about what they're comfortable doing, not comfortable doing, what's my role, what's not your role, and it could be all sorts of different things that works for that couple. But just throwing your hands in the air and going, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to sit on the couch and see you later, I don't think that's a fair trade-off. If you're not going to do diaper duty, then what exactly are you doing to the same order of magnitude to rebalance this equation? That would be my question,
That's a
right?
great follow up question.
Right. So if there is balance there, then okay, so now if you're on TikTok saying a man in general should never have to do this, now I take a problem with that, because you're not a man, you're a dad. That's a completely different thing
Hmm.
that is really gender agnostic, right? Um, a dad should be able to change diapers for a male or a female. It does require you becoming a little bit more intimate with your child. Intimate's the wrong word. First of all, that seems a little off. But
Yeah, but like
changing diapers requires you to clean private areas for your child. It's a child. First of all, if you're not doing anything that is um illegal or harmful, you're changing a diaper. You're
yeah, I
making
mean,
sure that someone that can't do it themselves, the child, is clean and prepared for the rest of the day. You should be able to do that. It's what you signed up for when you had a kid. Poop is part of having a kid.
it's a part of it. I mean, and like not to be overly in details, but like you have a girl, you got to make sure all those folds are clean. Like, I was in the NICU. Do you know how many times the NICU nurses told me front to back? I was like, girls, I know, front to back. Like they were like,
Yeah,
no,
there's a
it's
technique
really
to it
important.
that dads have to learn because
Dads have to learn.
you don't have the background or the exposure to it at that time,
Hmm.
but you need to get into the details. Why do we do it this way? What could occur? What are signs of you doing it wrong? What does an infection look like? What does it feel like? What
What
does
does it
that
look like for them?
show up like in your kid? Rashes in certain areas because you've used the wrong lotion, or the diaper is a different type of
Different
brand, or
brand,
the
and they have
lotion,
different.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. You
When
need to
there's
know these things,
w-
just like if it was a boy. It's like it doesn't matter.
well, there's different
You need
things
to
to
get
know
into
with
it.
boys too. Like, I've I nannied, but like mostly dealt with girls. But like, there's different things to know with boys. I had a friend who had a son around the same time we had Bo, um, and like he had an issue and she had to deal with it. And I'm not going to expose this kid's issues because it's not mine to expose. But like, I was like, I have never thought of that. I never knew you'd have to do that. And yeah, maybe intimate is the wrong word, but like you are caring for this child who cannot care for themselves. If they are using diapers, they are not capable of wiping, especially when they're itty bitty. And like keeping them clean, keeping that area clean, keeping them changed, and it's just a part of caring for something
So
else.
what do you do when wifey is asleep? What do you do when wifey stepped away because she needed an
She,
hour's break, or
yeah,
she ran to
exactly.
the store or something like that, and your kid had, what's called a blowout? What do? You sit there
Leave it
and
there.
wait until she comes back? It's like that in itself is abuse. That's
It
that's
is.
criminal neglect, right? Because you are unwilling to get your hands dirty, literally, and that happens all the time, right? It ends blowouts, as many people watching this show will probably tell you, it ends up in the weirdest places ever. So it's
Yeah,
like,
neck folds,
I'm
armpits.
sorry that your house smells like shit today because your kid had a challenge, but that's part of what
Babyhood.
you signed up for. The loving part of rolling around on the ground and smiling with your kid. Yeah, that's part of it too. But
Yeah, I mean
there
that, and
is
that you
a
get to that part.
biological part that needs to
Well,
be adhered to.
and to like take things from like a completely different position. Like I have an older dog. Okay, I have to clean her probably once or twice a week because she is just older. Not a single person is going to accuse me of being into bestiality because I have to wipe my dog's ass. Not a single person. She is 13 years old.
Where's
She's a
this
little
podcast going?
overweight, and like, like, come on, like, not a single person is going to accuse me of that for taking care of my kid, my dog.
Are you gonna rehome your dog?
No, not today. She just needs to make it onto the pee pads, and she'll be fine.
But I take a bigger problem with him sharing that viewpoint. If that's your viewpoint and you've made it work in your family, your wife is okay with it, or dealing with it, or managing, and she's still with you and loves you and says this is what we're cool. Do that behind the screen. But when you get on and start preaching about it on TikTok and stuff like that, now you've become a very bad egg.
Well, and it
Because
inspires
I'm sure
other.
there are others out there that are like, yeah, tell them, and
Exactly.
it's
So when
like, seriously?
I saw this, and it was like it inspired other dads to kind of go about the same thing. Whether it's like this one guy who who's like being a mom is not a job and it's a privilege, and being a stay-at-home mom is not a job, it's a privilege. And it's like, okay, then you take care of the kids by yourself at home for 4 days in a row and see whether or not you're exhausted or whether or not
And
there's
have the
work
kid too.
involved, and have the
And have
kid.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and have the kid. Exactly. And like, I think what you said about the switch off is like my first thought was like when Bo came home from the NICU and like I didn't breastfeed. I had bottle feeding, but she was mostly breastfed for the first couple of weeks. So like my job was night duty. My job was breakfast. My job was cleaning. My job was bathing the kid. Like my jobs were to participate as a backup, as a coach, as a water boy for the person who was doing most of the nutritional work towards this child. I was fully active and there, but like that's what that's what being a dad is when they're healing, when they're figuring it out. Like, and especially if we're all new parents here, women don't just automatically know what to fucking do. That's not a real thing. They learn and they figure it out. There's not this like
Just like dads do. We're all learn at the same time.
exactly, because people are like, oh, is this just like biological knowingness? It's like, no, there's not a biological knowingness on how to do this. Everyone's figuring it out, especially if it's your first time. You're a first time parent, regardless of gender.
Right. So I agree. Before we change back to a different story here, I think the biological knowing comes into a lot of innate physical body reaction and emotional type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing how to change a diaper is not genetics.
No, it's not. That's effort.
Because there's some people out there that don't know how to change a diaper and they find out the hard way. But that's how you learn too. You didn't strap that on properly. Look what happened in the backseat of your car. I bet you're not going to do that again.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah. And like I grew up with a bunch of little sisters, so I knew what I was doing. So like I helped Bo's mom learn things that I'd known since I grew up with siblings, and she had. So like I knew how to change a diaper, I knew how to tighten a swaddle, I knew how to do certain things, and so it's like but I'm not the mom. Shouldn't she know? Just cause? No, doesn't make sense.
So, okay, here's my next story. But before I get into that, I will tell you I've never changed a diaper because I adopted my child at 4.
Oh wow, well, aren't you an asshole? You're out here claiming you haven't changed the diaper. I
I never claimed I changed that. I said if you know what, if I had a child that was younger and in diapers, then
you
I would.
would you
I would personally, that kind of stuff is like, but if I had a kid like that needed Johnny on the spot. That's my job. I'm
figure it
dad. Let me
out.
get into it. So, I mean, that's where I'm coming from. Would I prefer not to change a diaper like this guy? Absolutely. Is it
Yeah.
gross? Absolutely. But you know what? Would you prefer to have a clean and sanitized child running around in your house, or do you just have loaded diapers waiting for mom or your partner when they get home, which is completely selfish, unfair, not a loving attitude to have to anyone in the house for
No.
Mr. Breadwinner. Unless you are a millionaire, then you can say I'm not changing diapers and hire someone to do it.
Yeah, hire a nanny
Otherwise,
to always be around, so when the diaper needs to be changed, it gets
yeah.
changed.
Otherwise, get your butt in gear,
Yeah,
is what I say.
figure it
Anyway.
out.
All right, my next story. In 2020, France became one of the first countries to recognize that social media had created a new form of child labor. Lawmakers observed that parents were filming their children for hours each week, generating advertising revenue, sponsorships, and brand deals without the legal safeguards that had long existed for child actors. Rather than waiting for a major scandal, France acted proactively. The new law requires authorization for children to be part of content creators' pages, mandates that a portion of the earnings be placed into a protected trust account, and gives children greater rights to request removal of content featuring them later in life.
I love that. I love that. That is exactly what should be happening. That makes so much sense. That is the same thing as child actors. It's
I
pretty
mean, in
similar.
essence, that's what they're doing, right?
Yeah, I mean that's because content creation is another form of entertainment, and there's a lot of kids out there who are a part of different people's stories, just like we were talking about. Imagine if these people were forced to pay their kid that they adopted. Maybe he'd have a college fund when he came out of wherever he ended up. Like that makes total sense.
I think a lot of individuals in this social media space forget that while this started off as fun, once you start generating an income, it then becomes, well, I'm doing all the work. Well, that's fine. You are doing all the editing and the posting and the responding because your child can't. First
Mhm.
of all, so don't be all like on the cross. Your child can't do that, and shouldn't be expected to be responding to a 34-year-old who's saying, "Hey, I like it." You never know what that is, so you got to be cautious. So you don't want
Sure.
your kid doing that. But at the same time, they're in front of the camera. They're earning their keep,
Mhm.
right? I'm not saying you should be out there buying them 5 Xboxes when they only need one. No, but this escrow fund that or trust account that France has said you should do is exactly it. If you only did 20% of that for the duration of your success path, then you set your child up for such a leg up, right?
Such a leg up.
And quite potentially the leg up that you did not have
Mhm.
and would not have had you not spilled into the social media space. You may have been, working somewhere else, making minimum wage, but for the fact that you had a kid that was entertaining enough for other
Yeah.
people to watch.
Yeah.
So the adult thing is to do that. I mean, I will say this podcast and my other podcasts don't currently generate an income, but I still put money aside for my kid. So by the time he is 18, he's going to be sitting on something that's pretty nice. Now, that comes from doing like forever since he was very young, like $20 a week. $20 a week for 18 years adds up.
Yeah.
It's not $1 million, but it certainly sets you off on a nice, comfortable start for something meaningful. If he decides to buy a house, he's got a down payment for it right off the bat, right? So it's intentional awareness of what you're trying to do for you and your family in the future, what you got. So if this podcast takes off and starts making, a substantial amount of money, then I'm going to put more into that fund
Mhm.
even though he's not part of this. But I,
Well,
I, I am often talking about him, and my perspective as a dad comes because I have a child. So at least that is part of the equation.
and I do think that there is something to giving your child a little bit of a financial security blanket. You're not teaching them to not be good with money. You're not teaching them to expect it from you. But if
Oh, he
you're
doesn't know
giving
it exists.
there you go. So like he doesn't know it exists, but like imagine he's going to go to school and the first, for his entire school, college graduation, he doesn't have to stress over the cost of textbooks, because they're
Hmm.
like $250 to $400 a piece. Like we're talking about like, basic education stuff, or if he wants to get into a trade school or real estate and figure out how to flip a house. Like there's something really cool about having that and also being taught about I keep doing that. God, I need to wake up.
What the mic
Being
do to you?
God, I don't know. I'm so sorry. Uh, but yeah, there's something just really cool about that. And like you're right, $20 a week is not bad. And you're inspiring me and thinking like, you know what? I think I'm gonna start doing that. Just getting Bo a small account. She's got a little Coogan account for her like the acting jobs that she's done, but just like adding to her Coogan account once a week, just putting $20 in. I have like an Acorn account that I do the same thing for. I was like, just goes into
Oh, I
like
have an Acorn
investments.
account, but that's for me.
It's for me. And I put like, just like little stock investments and little things because I'm trying to learn. But, every once in a while, that comes in handy.
Diversify is what I say, but I think that dads who think about more than just themselves, or families who think about more than just the individual in the family, tend to be the more successful in the long, because it's a long game and it
Hmm.
requires a lot of intention, right? Yes, you are doing social media. Should you compensate yourself? Yes. Should you go on nice trips and stuff? Absolutely. If your kid is part of that equation of why you're successful, they should also join you in all of that fun. But think about if this all ended next week, right? You got sick, or something happened, you can't do social media anymore. Now what?
Yeah. Is it the only thing that's making you money? Is it the only thing that's keeping you going? And are you going to like now rely on your kid to make that happen?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, your kid wakes up one day and goes, I don't want to do this anymore. Now does it become I need you to do this. I'm going to force you to do this because this is our income,
Mm.
or are you able to pivot to something else because, hey, I'm dad, my kids come to me, I'm going to find a way out of this because he's not happy, she's not happy, and my kids' well-being is number one. And I want to preface by saying there are a lot of social media giants out there who do things as a family and make money, who are very good at this and being able to put their kids first, and they're very in tune, and they do things like you said, the videos have them, the kids are in it but it's very limited, or you can't see their faces, or it's usually a recording of them on vacation or
Mm.
something they're doing anyway, right? Or it's like the ones we used to see a lot of, and my kid used to watch a lot of, is what is it? The toy type
Yeah.
situation where your kids are like trying out different toys and stuff. I think that's kind of cool. I mean, it shows others that, this toy is cool and what it does. And, ooh, I want one of those for my birthday or Christmas and stuff like that. That I don't see a problem with that.
No,
But you do outgrow that.
you do. There's this one kid who's been doing it for ages, and it's crazy because he started doing it and he started reviewing toys. I think he makes like $11 million a year. Like this kid is like
Holy cow.
14, and as he's gotten older, the toys have just gotten older, and he's just kind of grown into like a different like generation of toys. He might even be younger than that. I think he's pretty young. Um, but it's his channel. He's like the only one on it. He's like a little host, and he just talks about these toys that he loves to play with. I don't know how young it started, but his set. This kid is set. So he
It
could.
sounds like he's having fun at it, and it sounds like his parents transitioned it into a him thing. Like,
Well, it's all
we may be
educational
behind the
toys.
scenes, but
Yeah.
this is something you want to do. You're good at it.
Hmm.
Go forth and conquer. And again, this law should still apply because now you are the host and primary actor of your show,
Hmm. And
which you
if
could
you
not do without your parents.
exactly. And like they definitely participate and help and are a part of it. And I'm sure they did most of the branding and reaching out to different like companies to send toys and try things. But I also like, if the parents do it right, if he's like, you know what, I'm ready to just like go to high school and chill. They're like, okay, cool. We'll just do like a goodbye episode and we're done. And here is all of your hard work. And when you're out of high school, you get to kind of choose what you want to do with this life. And like, that's what, as a human being, I think parents want to choose for you. And I think like setting your kids up with a little bit of wiggle room so they can kind of make that choice and figure that out for themselves is pretty cool.
Yeah, $11 million a year allows for you to do that.
Well, that's
August,
a
I appreciate
lot of
that.
wiggle room. That's like you wiggle
You
all
want to quit
around.
today? Sure. I've already
Sure.
made 20% of your $1 million. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Anyway, all right, August, your $11 million story is.
Not 11 million. This one was inspired because it was my birthday yesterday, which we talked about. And so I wanted to do a bad birthday example. And I thought about this TV show called The Parent Test. The Parent Test was where 12 families were brought together. They were representing different parenting style from strict to free range to child led. And all of these parents competed in a kind of like a challenge to see who had the most effective parenting. Now, there is one example, and I tried to find the age of the girl, but it was surrounding her birthday. So they went to this science museum. In the gift shop. She asked for to ask to get something. Her parents said no. She was pretty young. I'm gonna say 7, maybe probably younger, like 5 or 6. Pretty young. Her parents said no, so she stole it, which is bad. She put it in her pocket, she brought it home, she took it. They found out, they made her go back and pay for the things that she took. And then her birthday, which was 2 weeks later, for her birthday, 2 weeks later, she received the thing she stole from the store. And that was it. They took all of her other presents away. They canceled her birthday party. And the only thing that she got was the thing that she stole.
Okay. I thought you were going one way and then you kind of went the other way. And I was preparing my answer in my head and I was like, nope, erase, erase, erase. Okay. So my first initial reaction is good for you for taking what you no, I'm just kidding. Um, I think what the parents did in having her take it back and be responsible for that is exactly the right thing. And I think there's a level of shame and embarrassment that's appropriate in that regard. Um, I think between me and my son, we've had one incident of that nature, not quite to that grand level, but we did the same thing. We're going back. You're going to let them know that you did A, B, C, and D. You're going to pay for it, and then and it turned into oh, I don't want to because I'm so embarrassed. Well, yeah, you should be embarrassed because you did this thing you knew you weren't supposed to. So let's go be
Mhm.
embarrassed together because I mean, there's a level of this that goes for the parents too. It's like, oh my god, my kid did this, and now I gotta do the perp walk, if you will. Now, I don't know that I disagree or agree that the party got canceled and then the one thing that she stole was the only thing she got. Um, my husband and I have come to the point where we believe that there should be one punishment per incident.
Okay.
You should not compound the punishment by either dragging it or continuing to add or revisiting it over and over and over and over, right? You did A, here's your punishment. Once that punishment is complete, we're done. Let's move forward. Let's grow from this, right? I can't bring it up 2 weeks later and go, well, remember you did this thing. So now on top of that thing that we already got you punishment for, we're going to add this thing on. Well, no, no, no. We already took care of that. Why are we bringing it up again? Right. So I think that was like a double, triple whammy on the fact
Uh-huh.
that she stole something. She stole something. She got in trouble for it. You took her back. She got her pound of flesh, but then you compounded it and made it a uber tragic moment by canceling whatever you plans you had for her birthday, and then gave her the coal, right? The no Christmas presents. You got coal for Christmas.
Uh-huh.
So it's like pick a lane
Yeah, I
and
mean,
stay in it.
I agree. I think you're right. Like if if Bo at 5 stole something from store, like she'd have to go back inside and own up to it, own up that she stole and pay for it. And like I wouldn't help her, and it would be a disaster. I guarantee it. But I'm not that's the lesson. That's it. Like at 5, that's the lesson because the choice of this is illegal is not in their mind. Should I or shouldn't I do this is almost like God, I really really want this and mommy and daddy said no and I think I still want it even though they said no. There's not like this is morally wrong or I'm doing something bad like it I think that the way that they took it and they put it on her was almost too broad of like an idea to put on such a young kid. The first thing and like
It's an overcorrection.
it's an overcorrection. Yeah, exactly. It's like a super overcorrection. You lose maybe you lose iPad time for the rest of the week or you lose your allowance for the month because you stole something and that allowance is going to go back to paying back for that thing that you stole. That is a correction. And you have to go back yourself and pay for it. Those two things like those go hand in hand. You're losing the money for the things that you stole because now you have to pay for it, and you personally have to go apologize and pay for this thing. To then push it forward, I think her birthday might have been like a month or two after. Like it wasn't, they like kept it going for a while. And when I think about this episode and this parenting style, it was like hyper strict. Like this kid's day to day life was planned out. I mean, she had math and violin and language lessons and like she's there's a privilege in that she has all of those fun or those things to keep her growing mentally and stuff, but I also remember that there was not a lot of fun in this kid's life. Like the science museum was like our fun adventure, and it resulted in this like I think there's like a problem with being too strict and not allowing a child to also be a child. And so yeah, it just I think age and consequences also play a big part into making sure you're setting like the right expectations for your child to understand. And if you're holding a 5 to 7 year old at a intellectual level of maybe like an 11-year-old. 11-year-old knows they're doing something wrong. Like, I'm not gonna, that's stealing. I'm not gonna do that. Does a 5-year-old really know what stealing means? Like, to that extent?
There's one way to learn it, and that's what that first, right, taking it back, and that feeling of oh my god, I did something wrong, now I have to go deal with that. That's your introduction into this is something you shouldn't do. Now if
Mhm.
that birthday was several months later, that's a grudge the parents are holding on to. That kid has let go of that moment a day or two after it
Yeah.
happened. And then a month later, 2 months later, you're coming back at it for the whole birthday. Now that is punitive in my opinion.
And I think that was kind of the overarching opinion of most of the other parents was like, you did you held on it for that long. You took away her presents so far, like so far after this. Like, I get it if it was like 3 days later and it was her birthday, you stole something, so you can have what you stole for your birthday this year. Um, because it was so quick. I was like, this happened. This just happened. This is now what's happening. But yeah, I don't know. I agree with you with the whole like one punishment per fuck up. It's like, you did this, and now this is going to happen because this is the consequence of this, and you're going to own it, which is not really like. I also think owning your screw up isn't the consequence for, it's like, I have to own this. I did this, and you have a consequence, right? Like, teaching your kid to take responsibility for their action is not the consequence. The consequence, like, does that make sense?
Does it?
Like, like her going in and being like, I took this and I have to pay for it, is her taking accountability. Her having to use her allowance for the month to pay for it is the consequence behind that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, I think it's all kind of tied to age appropriateness because a 5 or
Hmm.
6 year old probably doesn't have allowance.
No,
But
no, probably
yes,
doesn't have
when we're talking about 11, 12, 13, when they're actually earning a little bit based on whatever chores you've indicated that they should do that's above and beyond what is done to support the house, then yeah, I think, you know, hey, you broke this. Your consequence is you don't have it until you pay to have it repaired. So
allowance.
there's two parts to that, right? You don't have access to it, and now you need to use part of your funds to pay for it, whether that's for the full amount or an amount that has been identified. That is how you're going to earn this back. So I mean, it all changes based on the arc level that you're at. But based on your example, this is I don't understand why it needed to be such a dramatic move in that direction. And I also think being strict parents is okay to a certain degree, but if you're doing it for your benefit and not the kids' benefit, then that requires some conversation, some introspective therapy, because there is such a thing as being too strict,
Uh-huh.
where you don't allow that child to have a childhood. And then when they become 18, your parents' names are going to be the only thing that your therapist is really familiar with.
Yeah, that is very true. It's very true.
All right, August, take us home. Do you have a fuck around and find out great moment?
I do. I do. Let me see. Here's a fuck around and find out moment. We'll talk about the consequences. So there is a viral video of a mom yelling at her child at a playground. There is backlash on both sides of how this mom handled it. I I personally super on board with the way that she handled it. So she caught her son bullying an autistic child, and she let him know. She was yelling at him, "You are not a bully. You know better." And this boy is like, "He called me a name, a da da da." And she was like, "Absolutely not." And she lit him up in public at this playground and let him know, "I am not raising a bully. You knew exactly what you were doing. And absolutely not. Absolutely not." And I just want to applaud that mom for sticking up for somebody else, even when your kid is at fault. because that
She
takes a
sounds
really strong
black
parent.
adjacent.
Huh? I see a British.
Oh,
This is
close enough.
right. It's close enough. Yeah, like that takes a super strong parent. I have watched parents watch their kids push or bully another kid and then defend their kid's actions. And I just think it is really dope to see a mom who took it upon herself to correct her kid's behavior. Her son is never going to forget that, to be yelled at in public for bullying an autistic boy by his mom. Like talk about like take embarrassment and like, oh, but no buts, no buts. We're here all the time. You know that this boy, it it does not mean it. You know that.
So I do think that there is value in doing certain things in public. I think that for in this particular example, what this mom has done is allowed that autistic kid to understand that bullying is not okay,
Yep.
right? And even those who are bullying are accountable to someone who is going to correct that behavior, and they need to be okay speaking up if they can, right? I don't know what level of autism is involved, but protecting people that are vulnerable is certainly a default that we should all have. And she made that clear to everyone within earshot that she doesn't stand for it. Others should now be comfortable going forward, standing up and saying this is not okay, as opposed to what you were saying. You know, other people are seeing their kids being bullied and pushing kids around and oops and oh, I'm bigger than you and let me and they're just sitting there pretending like they don't hear any of that because they're non-confrontational. Not me. I'm the kind of parent I would have been just like that. And I have done that a few times when necessary. I will be, I don't yell and scream and things. I'm very stern in my
Mhm.
engagement. So I think it accomplishes a lot more than just a crazy black man. Um, but it's the parent who is parenting their
Parenting,
child. My goal is
actively
not to
parenting.
embarrass you, but
No.
my goal is to make sure that the person that you are impacting is aware that I saw it
Hmm.
and I'm fixing it.
I'm fixing it.
So
No,
yeah,
that doesn't fly for me. Yeah, so I saw that, and then I saw the comments, and I was like, "This mom is losing it, and how dare she?" But then the amount of comments of parents who have children who are either on the spectrum or have differences were like, thank you for teaching your child that it's not okay to bully a child like mine." The amount of parents who want other people, other adults, to stand up against bullying is crazy, and it was cool to see all of these parents feel like a little bit seen and loved on just by a mom being being a true badass, just being like,
well,
absolutely not, I
bullying is
didn't.
one. Well, bullying is one thing, but what can an autistic kid do? In some cases, they can't speak up for themselves,
No.
right? So
Yeah.
you as a parent that's not paying attention to your autistic child would never know that they are being bullied every time you bring them to this park.
Yeah, like they don't. Yeah, and like this kid, it's like that you can hear in the video the boy who did the bullying, like being like, "Oh, but he did this and but he did that." And she's like, "No, no, 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 no. You are well aware of this boy. We see him all the time. You know for a fact that he did not mean anything by it, but what you did, you meant. And I am not raising a bully. How dare you?
Good for
How
her.
dare you do that?" And I just want to applaud her because, yeah, you hold your kids responsible so that they become good adults. That's what
And
we
bullying
want.
is such an epidemic too. I would say
Yeah,
it still continues to be an issue in
totally.
schools. And I know a lot of people are like, well, that's the way that you learn to, and no, 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 no,
Mm-mm,
no. Bullying over time becomes normal and usual and expected. I was bullied when I was in middle school,
I
and
was
those were
bullied.
the hardest years of my entire life. Now they've made me the man that I am today, right? But could I go back and avoid that if I could? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bullying is such a public display of what are you going to do,
Mhm.
which has made me the kind of man that I am today, which is please ask me what I'm going to do because you're going to find out. So it's
Yeah. And I was pretty solidly bullied in high school. And so it's like, to mock someone who, and like that's the other thing. Like, everyone has insecurities. Everyone. Kids have
Kids are mean.
insecurities, and kids are mean because they
Kids are
have no
mean.
filter. So
Little
it was just
bastards.
great. I love seeing a mom be a true parent and hold her kid responsible. So find her and fuck out. Don't fuck around. Don't embarrass your mom. Don't be a bully. I think that's the real reason. Don't be a bully. Like, let's not
Even
do
as an
that.
adult, don't be a bully.
Even as an adult, don't be a bully. Social media, online platforms made it so easy to tear people down. So, hold people
Oh my
responsible for
God.
being a bully. It's
I
an
heard
important
that.
lesson. But
All
anyways,
right,
guys.
August, take us out. Take us
All
out.
right, this is Certified Bad Example. I am August Black. We are here with Jameel Mayers, and we are on iTunes and Spotify and all of the great things. And you should like and listen and comment and say hello. We want to know your bad example too. Thanks,
Do
guys.
not rehome our podcast. Make sure to comment and subscribe where you can.
Yeah, let's rehome that word forever.
I love it. We're
All right.
horrible.
I know.